Hello, everybody, and I hope that all of you are having a good day. Now, we all know what's happening with our political situations. We all know what's happening in countries like Canada and Britain. We know what's happening. We know how these governments are doing everything they can to censor people, control everything that people do, tax people nearly to death, but not completely, because it's part of the control. The taxation is not used for bettering our communities, for bettering our situations. Part of it is used to maintain the system, to, yes, do all those things that I mentioned, but it is more maintaining the system. While that system is in reality taxing you and censoring you and controlling you and educating you in this particular way in order to keep you down and enslaved. Now, it sounds funny. It sounds like conspiracy theory. It sounds like another YouTuber just spouting noise about the things he disagrees with or what he thinks is going to get him more views. But when you begin to realize that it is the people who are actually talking about what's really happening with our countries right now that are the ones that are being censored. They're the ones that are not really getting the views. They're the ones that are getting their money taken away from them. They're getting censored. Their videos are being picked up by keywords because of their title or certain things that people say in the videos, and they get picked up by keywords. They get picked up by an AI system that blocks your videos. And not only do they block your videos, they also put you under investigation. That's another thing that they're doing with the censorship. They're keeping people from being able to get together, being able to share these stories, these things that are happening to them, that are happening to other people in their community, to what's happening to their nation and other people's nations right now. They can't share these stories. They can't get together. They're being barred from even being able to form community meetings, environments where they're able to influence community meetings. They're being barred from certain beliefs and being allowed only to have beliefs that are pretty detrimental to their existence, beliefs that keep their minds small, but beliefs that actually expand the mind, that actually make a person better themselves, that make a person live longer, that make a person want to make more money and also have respect with that money and be able to allow other people to make that money. Basically be a fair boss and a fair employee. They're not allowing you to do that. And with all these new bylaws that are coming in every single day that are choking our citizens out, accompanied by the policing that they put in with it, is just completely destroying our societies. As well with the media and the education system that we have. The media, with all the movies, with all the TV programs, and what they're doing with YouTube, turning it into new TV and censoring everybody else, eventually turning it into just a low quality TV where you get to expand your search a little bit more. You get to watch videos without having to worry about too many commercials, without having to worry about the video disappearing at the end of the night or right after you watch it. You can watch it again. You can even save it. You can put it on a playlist. But you see, the reason why people visit YouTube and things like that is so that they're able to watch things that they want to watch. So what they're doing is that they're actually putting TV on YouTube. And what they're doing is that they're taking away all the creativity while they're copying the creativity that they like, what they agree with, what they feel makes them money, what they feel promotes their brands, and they use that. So they keep certain people, they still keep people as relics, but very rapidly they're destroying all of YouTube and turning it into the new TV, where people think that they got some sort of normality, where they think that it's different, where they think that they got the power. And in many senses they do compared to what they had in the past. But it's still going back to what it was in the past and even worse, where you don't have the option of switching from TV to YouTube, because no matter where you go, that's where it is. They're doing all these things, and with the movies, with the TV programs, with the songs, they are indoctrinating us into believing certain things, and to accepting certain things, and to accepting movements that are very negative for people, that are very negative for families, that basically cut our life expectancy. They keep us in a mindset where we are constantly feeding and paying into something that is benefiting off what we're doing, while we are conveniently just disposing of ourselves when we can't do it anymore. These people have found a way to control population with it. They have found a way to control opinions that counter them. They have found a way to not only do all that, but also make themselves more powerful, more wealthier, the ability to do more of what they want, the ability to say more of what they want, in whatever way they want, how they want. Well, we are censored. Well, we have to open our mouths in awe and say that this is so cool, this is so me, when in reality it has nothing to do with me or you. And today, people are at the point where they see right through this. And that's why these systems are trying to censor us more and more and more and more and more. And the tighter they squeeze, the more effective they become in censoring us, the more effective they become in getting into our families and destroying our people. So much so that now they got these things called social workers. People who can come to your house with even the police and take away your kids if they don't agree with something that you're doing, or you don't agree with something that the system is doing, or you simply just want to be unique or different. That's why they're taking kids away now. That's why they're meddling in families now. They're not doing it because they're saving kids or saving kids that don't have parents like they used to, like they first started off doing. Now what they're doing is that they're using these broken families that they're aiding in breaking more so that they can have hours in their job, so that they can have retirement plans, so that they can choose their hours and choose how their industry is going to run. Basically being able to do what they want while guilt tripping us into thinking that this is something that we need. And in many senses, there is some of our society, a lot of our societies, that need intervention, that need people to save children, that need people to be able to stand up for a child that has no voice and needs a place to be, needs intervention, or a family, or people that are dealing with extreme abuse, drug use, and alcoholism. We need people to be able to stand up for kids and families. They started off saying that they are doing it to save families, to save kids. But just like any other criminal, just like any other criminal organization, it starts off trying to convince the people around it that the people need it, that the people need this. But after a while, you begin to see the true colors. You begin to see the truth. You begin to see the tyranny behind it. Just like nobles, just like people who want to become kings or emperors or leaders, or just manipulate and fraud people into thinking that they need that person to lead them, or to pay that person, or to give that person all the trust, resources, land, their daughters, their sons, their animals, their existence, so that they can feel like someone is defending them, so that they can feel like they're being represented, so they can feel and also have someone who in reality has a good head on their shoulders defending that community, someone who is a true leader. Because we do need leadership. But in order to have people saying that we are too small-minded to govern our own affairs, those are not leaders. Those are people who want to make themselves kings and break our backs, make us do their will, their doing, while we pay for it with our lives. That is what is happening today with our systems. And the sad thing is that our systems are still some of the best systems in the world. But what a lot of people don't realize is that our systems are actively invading other countries, other systems, and keeping these other countries and systems from being able to have peace and prosperity, turning other people's countries, other people's existence into third world situations, fourth world situations, because they're not a third world that was just created from the middle class and first class where people just couldn't make it anymore, or the economy crashed and now there's this third world situation. These are fourth world situations because they involve drugs. They involve calculated and designed alcoholism, gangs, organized crime, the way drugs are being brought into these countries and being brought from these countries. It's a sophisticated system of crime. So you can't call it a natural third world environment that is caused because of extreme poverty. No, this is something that is creating that third world environment with designed poverty, designing basically scientifically in a laboratory how these people are going to lose their lives. When you look at how these television shows and these movies we talk about things like the CIA, that the United States has, their intelligence, that supposedly is protecting Americans, but now they constantly make jokes basically admitting that they're not there protecting Americans, that what they're doing is actually just exploiting Americans, that they're experimenting on Americans, that they're hurting other people, that they're using American resources to basically just run their criminal organizations, to exploit other countries, exploit other people, and then say that this is the interest of the United States. No. What the United States has become, and what governs the United States, and what's has basically always governed the United States, and even Canada, and especially Britain, and many European powers, are things that come from occult societies, basically hidden societies, peoples that have their own beliefs, that have their own, basically their own countries within our countries, their own systems, their own bodies of laws, their own religions, their own rituals, their own traditions, everything that they do that makes them, right under our noses. We are basically, if you actually look at it, just their slaves or livestock. We just work their jobs, but they become the entrepreneurs. Whenever there's good inventions and ideas, or something that can actually reduce poverty, or even in the past, people inventing new ways of having energy, these societies, or whatever you call them, that are now becoming our governments, go in there and raid people. They send SWAT to people's houses. They destroy people. They do everything to people in every way imaginable so that they can take their ideas, so that they can exploit them. And you see it over and over and over again in American business, unfortunately. Just people who are exploiting their own people and everybody else in the world. And it's very sad. And if you actually talk to people in other countries, they have a big distrust for our world. They call it the Western world. They call it an encroaching Western world that they don't want. You see it a lot in Islamic countries. You see it a lot in basically almost all the Asian countries. You see it even in Europe itself, countries that are supposedly allied to our systems, and they are terrified of our systems. They tell a story of when these systems come in, or when they trade, or when they have any dealings with our politicians or businessmen or trades or unions, or even allying these people in wars or embargoes. We begin to see how we suffer, how we lose, how our country changes for the worst, on how we get all these bad influence, all these bad movies, we're getting taxed more. There's terrorist groups that are now coming in our country that never existed. We never even had that idea of terrorism. We got these bandits that are coming out of nowhere, these cartels, radical Islamic groups that were basically sponsored and funded so that they can fight Russian invasions and invasions of other countries, supposedly. And then now the same systems that arm them are in there saying that they're looking and searching for terrorists. The same thing that now they're doing with the cartels in Latin America. And the thing is that videos like these, information like this, is what people actually look for, but a lot of you will never hear it. Maybe some of you who are subscribed to me or share this video or manage to share this video, and even if you do share this video is censored. This video is blocked once again by algorithms, by AI. And it's really sad that people have to deal with that. And that's why people also are beginning to question these things more and more and more, because they're seeing the censorship. They're seeing how these people who said that they're doing all these things for our good are now becoming tyrants right in our face. And the people who are doing this to us think that this is okay, that they're gaining power, that they are gaining power. And in many senses, they are making it okay for themselves. But the thing is that they don't realize, and I guess they did realize in the beginning by putting all these censorships, by preparing more prison, more hospitals, more prevention, and as well as punishment for when we do say something. But what they don't anticipate is on how fast people are waking up, and how rapidly people are beginning to see this, and how much people actually talk. They don't say anything yet. When the police come, or a bylaw comes and gives people tickets or arrests them or tells them that they did something wrong, or that they're going to go to jail because they made a mistake, or they said something offensive that wasn't offensive before, but now there's hate speech laws and people are being hauled off to jail and being put in front of judges. People don't say anything yet to the public, But people are discussing it within their friend groups, within their family. And it's starting to hit the public. You see people discussing these things openly at bus stops and restaurants and lineups. People are beginning to spread the word. And the more you censor people, the more people have to begin to, again, read and write. The more people have to begin to grab a blank paper or a lined paper and begin to write down what you see. Begin to type it up. Begin to share this information by going door to door. Begin to show your people what is happening to you and what is happening to them. By showing them and showing your family, the people around you, the worst cases. Because all those worst cases are the experimentation for these systems. Social services taking kids away from broken mothers or drugged up situations or situations where there is violence are being slowly, actually now rapidly, being put on people who don't have those issues. People who simply just have different political situations or want to raise their kid Christian or want to raise their kid to have beliefs that are different from the collective. To teach your kid that, hey, I don't consent with the homosexual agenda and I don't want my child being indoctrinated into that. Or I don't want my child being sent to a school where they're indoctrinating my child with that. I don't want my child watching certain shows because of what they show, how they're sexualizing our youth. People are beginning to say, look how we're being taxed. Look at these tax brackets. Every time that I try to do good, I get taxed or I get fined or something happens. I want my dogs to have puppies and now I can't sell them because there's bylaws saying that you can't sell them. I want to build an addition to my house and I definitely know that when I build this addition that it's going to stay up. I definitely know that the electricity is going to flow properly through that extra room. The pipes are going to be placed in properly. No, now they want you to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars just to get things approved, just to get the ability to get building permits, the ability to do simple things, just mundane things. And then on top of that, for the rest of your life, you're paying taxes just to own the property that you finished paying an arm and a leg in mortgage for. This is serious, folks. This is killing us. And people are waking up to that fast. They're starting to realize that their world is being taken from them right under their noses, right under their feet. They're falling on their bums and feeling the pain of that impact. An impact that they did not deserve when they were doing so good, when they were trying their best, when they were being honest. When they in reality were contributing, when they in reality were respecting the law, when they in reality were trying to cut emissions and recycle and do all these things, they're being slapped with carbon taxes, they're being slapped with extra taxes, their electricity, their gas, everything is going up 100%. Okay, sure, resources are becoming limited and scarce, but every time we hit big oil, every time we go for a big oil project, especially what you see in Canada, people seem to be paying more for fuel. Every time a breakthrough with farming or with pesticides and the ability to grow more crops, people seem to be paying more. Now people are eating tainted food, genetically modified tainted food, which is causing cancer, which is destroying. People are beginning to realize that these things are turning to tyranny. These excuses, these reasons are just excuses. And they're turning into tyranny. In fact, people are seeing that the tyranny was always there. It was just manipulating them. It was just making things harder and harder from a world that our people made easier by pioneering in these countries, by fighting the wars, by struggling for the human rights, for civil rights, for women's equality. And then we begin to realize that a lot of these people who push for women's equality in reality push to enslave all of us together, to take away the little rights that we had as humans through the respect that women had by making women believe that they were disrespected the whole time, that they were enslaved. And now women are realizing that they can't even have their families protect them. They can't even depend on their men, and neither can their men depend on their women. They cannot. We're being divided. And that's what these social workers are doing. They're dividing our families. And in the families that are almost like cockholds, they are bent to it, they don't see what's happening, are the ones that are given a little bit more rights. They're given a little bit more leeway temporarily. And then people who are completely oblivious, who even follow the system blindly, who listen to the music, who watch the shows, who accept the laws, who defend the laws, they're finding themselves losing their kids. They're finding themselves losing and being taxed to death and losing the home that they live in. Police officers have to knock on people's doors with that reputation, with that shame, and it's getting worse. But the thing is that citizens can't also sympathize for police officers, because if police officers and these social workers and these people who work for the system who say, hey, it's my job, I'm sorry, I'm just doing my job, they should see how it's affecting their families, their people. And they can't just say, well, my family's okay, so I don't care. You know, let them take you away, let them haul you away. It's not my problem. Well, it's becoming your problem too. Because even you who is enforcing these things is getting questioned. Not only questioned, people want to throw you off their properties, but they can't because you have a gun and they do not. People don't want their streets and their cities patrolled by people that are part of a system that is just robbing them. They don't want to be patrolled by the mafia. They don't want to be patrolled by the Crips and Bloods. They don't want to be patrolled by a fascist or some sort of communistic system. But yet, what are we seeing? We're seeing criminal enterprises being able to open business. But just because they don't go saying thug life, F the police, you know, they're allowed to open business, they're allowed to do what they want. And then the people who do say thug life and F the police are used as the reason to say we need to impose more gun laws, we need to impose more censorship, we need to impose more taxation, we need to impose the destruction of education. That's exactly what's happening. I don't know how else to explain it, but there is sophisticated words to explain it. There's social justice, there is poverty reduction, social development, services, you know, tax for the greater good. We got the reasons, we got the excuses, we see them. But we begin to look closely and we begin to use other words when we describe them. We're describing tyranny, we're describing theft, we're describing basically murder. And people are beginning to discover that our criminal systems or criminal organizations, all these cartels, are armed by our very own systems. That's what the CIA does with Latin America. It arms the cartels. It sponsors terrorism. When you look at movies, they don't even hide that anymore. But yet, you go into society and you say that, they call you a conspiracy theorist. So Hollywood tells you what's going on through humor, through dramas, through action movies. But yet, when you actually say, hey, this is what's going on, this is not appropriate, the system's still trying to convince you that it is appropriate, that this is normal. But very rapidly, our future generations can say, hey, this is how it is. We don't help other countries, and this is how it's always been, without realizing that that's not what their parents were told. Their parents were always told that this is for the good, that all these things are good. It's so evil nowadays, it's so bad nowadays, that if you look at these shows, they're basically encouraging killing, hurting kids, molesting kids, suicide, the destruction of one's body and one's health, telling people to become transgender, telling people that they're born this way. When their very own system of science that they use to say all this is legit is saying, hey, it's not actually like this. People are not born this way. Women and men do need each other. All this taxation doesn't make sense. This in reality is actually crippling and killing people. This genetically modified food is giving people cancer. Why are we using a 5G system, the internet system, with all this Wi-Fi strategically being placed all over our cities? They're strategically giving us cancer when we already have the ability to have this fast internet, this fast ability to share and do things without having to use this system that is giving cancer. And then along with that, the cornstarch, genetically modified corn, and other genetically modified foods, but with genetically modified corn, the cornstarch, which is in almost every single type of food that we eat. And that causes cancer. You give rats genetically modified food, and they, you know what I'm saying? This is what people are beginning to see. They're beginning to see what's being put in our skies, in our air, what's being put in our water, what's being put in our food, what's being put in our education system, what we're watching, what we're learning from. That's why this system has to censor. That's why this system has to create so much chaos, so much stuff. But you begin to look at it. They say that our world's falling apart, all these terror threats, all these disease, all these things. Well, they can conveniently make their systems more stronger, more in order, impose more laws, tax us much better, invent new technologies that make us stupid, yet they say that our world is falling apart. It's social engineering. It's a mass eugenics. We fought Hitler so that Hitler wouldn't be able to control how people are born and how people die. Yet this is what our systems have done way before Hitler, during Hitler, and clearly way after Hitler to this day, and they look like they want to make this the future. Those are serious things. And whenever you hear videos talking about these things, or people in your family talking about these things, this is not something that you just go, oh, well, at least we know, at least we're awake, at least we got Trump, or at least we got people in our society that are not like that. No. We have to begin to do something about these things. We have to begin to knock the doors. We have to begin to stand at the street corners and preaching about what's happening. Not just preaching about the Bible and something that a lot of people don't understand, but tell people about what everybody can see with their very own eyes, no matter what they believe in. People have to begin to see this for themselves, and they have to begin to use their communities. Bring community meetings back. Bring the ability to use that awareness and turn it into production, where when people are aware of something, they can counter it, action against it. They can better themselves. They can become stronger in defending themselves. Because what we're seeing here with YouTube, with Facebook, with all this social media, it's just been placed there to make us believe like we have sharing, like we have freedom, but in reality, our ideas are being taken. We're being investigated. We are being censored. We are being used to create a system that's going to hurt our kids. While we are insulting our parents, while we are not helping our parents out, while we are just exploiting our parents, what are we going to do for our kids? So all you young people who are learning about all of these things and are basically living in this system and accepting it, you guys have to realize that you are the future. And you guys have to be the ones that are more stronger than your parents, more stronger than us. You're going to have to be more patriotic or whatever you call it, more aware, more awake. You have to actually bring action. You have to influence better leaders. You have to become leaders. Become better people in our society. So that today you can be where you're at. Not where you're manipulated, but where you're at, where you have the opportunity to do so much better than we did. Anyways, guys, that's the video for today. This is not just some motivational speech. You guys have to begin to really hear these things because our time is here. And we have to begin to use our voice. I'm not kidding. I'm not just saying this to sound important. All of us can see it. Anyways, if you guys want, you guys can subscribe to this channel and listen to what I have to say. Watch my older videos. I apologize if sometimes I'm offensive, or if I said the wrong things, or if I got confused with some information, or my words got mixed around, or I'm tired, or maybe didn't make sense in one or two sentences. I apologize. I'm just a human. I don't script what I say. I just say what I see, what I think, what I feel. And of course, yes, what I know, what I've studied, what is fact. All of it's fact. And it's a fact that we can all see. We are living under tyranny and we got to do something about it. Anyways, guys, God bless you all. And until next time, take care.